Your dog just heard 3 seconds of your favorite song and full body tilted its head like it's trying to debug a computer virus. Your cat heard the exact same 3 seconds and left the room without saying goodbye. But somewhere out there right now, a cockatoo named Snowball is headbanging to the Backstreet Boys with better rhythm than literally anyone you know at a school dance. And in a rainforest thousands of miles away, a monkey is listening to Metallica and Mozart back to back and could not care less about either one. So which is it? Do animals actually vibe to music, or are we just projecting our own playlist onto creatures that couldn't care less what's playing? Because the real answer is way stranger than yes or no, and once you hear it, you're never going to look at your pet the same way again. Human music was built for human ears. Our rhythm, our pitch, the way a beat drop hits you in the chest, all of that evolved around what our brains and bodies are wired to notice. Most animals hear the world completely differently. Dogs can pick up sounds way higher pitched than we can, sounds we will never hear in our entire lives. Cats hear even higher frequencies than dogs, tuned almost perfectly for detecting the high-pitched squeaks of small prey, not for detecting a chorus or a guitar solo. But hearing a sound is not the same as feeling something when it plays. So before scientists could even ask if an animal likes music, they had to ask a much weirder question first. Can this animal even process it the way we do? For a lot of species, the answer turned out to be no, which leads to one of the wildest experiments ever run on this topic. Back in the early 2000s, researchers at Harvard studied cotton-top tamarins, tiny monkeys from Colombia. They played the monkeys a mix of Mozart and actual Metallica and just watched what happened. The monkeys barely reacted. Not calm, not stressed, basically nothing, like showing a toddler your tax return. But when researchers played recordings of tamarin distress calls, the sounds these monkeys make when they're scared, they reacted instantly, and tamarin happy sounds made them visibly relax. These monkeys had zero interest in Mozart or Metallica. Their brains were locked onto their own species' sounds, and everything else registered as random noise, like hearing someone else's group chat notifications going off in another room. That result completely flipped how scientists approached this question. Maybe the real problem was never whether animals can enjoy music, maybe the problem was that we had only ever tested them using our music. So a researcher named Charles Snowden composed brand new music specifically for tamarins, using the exact pitch and tempo of tamarin sounds themselves. Fast, tense music built off their fear calls. Slow, calm music built off their friendly calls. This time it worked. The monkeys got visibly anxious during the tense version and visibly chilled out during the calm one, more relaxed eating, less pacing around, stressed. These monkeys could clearly respond to music. They just needed it translated into their own language first. And Snowden didn't stop there. He ran similar experiments on domestic cats, composing music built around the pitch range and tempo of purring and nursing sounds, the exact frequencies kittens respond to from birth. Cats showed noticeably more interest and calmer behavior around that music than they ever did around regular human songs, which finally explains why your cat has never once vibed to your car playlist. It was never built for a cat brain in the first place. This whole idea that every species might need music translated into its own sensory language opened up a much bigger question for scientists. If tamarins need tamarin-coded music and cats need cat-coded music, then what would music even sound like from the perspective of something totally alien to us, like a bird? Songbirds are actually one of the most interesting cases in this entire field, because birdsong itself already follows patterns that overlap surprisingly closely with human music theory. Certain species of thrush sing using intervals and pitch relationships that map almost directly onto scales used in human composition, not because the birds studied music, but because those patterns happen to be efficient and effective ways to communicate across distance in a forest. Researchers studying birdsong structure have found repeating phrases, rhythmic variation, even something close to call and response between individual birds, all of which look remarkably close to the building blocks of a song, just built for a completely different purpose, attracting mates and defending territory instead of hitting the charts. Now dogs completely flip the script, because dogs are not like most other animals on this list. They've lived directly inside human homes for somewhere between 15 and 40,000 years, sleeping next to us, listening to us talk every single day for thousands of generations. A study from the Scottish SPCA and the University of Glasgow tested different music genres on dogs in shelters and found something genuinely cool. Soft rock and reggae specifically made dogs calmer, less barking, more relaxed posture, better heart rate. Classical music calmed them too, but that effect faded fast once the dogs got used to it. Reggae and soft rock kept working even after repeated listens. Heavy metal did the opposite. more barking, more pacing, more stress. Your dog is not necessarily vibing to your playlist the exact way you are. What it is doing is genuinely reacting to tempo and predictability, the same qualities that make music relaxing to your own nervous system. And this effect is strong enough that some professional kennels and shelters now run curated playlists all day, specifically chosen using this research, meaning there's a real chance some rescue dog somewhere is listening to better curated music than most humans put together for their own morning commute. Then there's Snowball, and honestly, he deserves his own documentary. Snowball is a cockatoo who became internet famous because he does something scientists genuinely thought only humans could do. He locks onto a beat and moves with it, speeding up when the song speeds up, slowing down when it slows down, like he's actually feeling the rhythm instead of just randomly flapping around. Neuroscientist Anirudh Patel studied Snowball for years and proposed that this beat-syncing ability might only show up in animals that learn sounds by copying them, instead of being born already knowing them. Parrots, some songbirds, elephants, and humans, not most other primates, including monkeys that are way closer to us genetically. Feeling a beat might have nothing to do with how smart an animal is. It might just be a side effect of being a species built to mimic sound in the first place. Interestingly, researchers tested over 1,000 videos of supposedly dancing animals online and found that almost every genuine beat-syncing example came from vocal learning species. Elephants swaying, parrots bobbing, even some songbirds tapping their feet. Meanwhile, videos of dogs or horses appearing to dance to music turned out, on closer inspection, to just be random movement that happened to briefly line up with the beat by coincidence, then get filmed at exactly the right moment. Elephants take this even further. At sanctuaries in Thailand, elephants have literally been recorded playing actual instruments, drums, harmonicas, modified xylophones. Sometimes in loose group sessions researchers have filmed for years. Whether the elephants genuinely enjoy it or are just trained to associate it with rewards is still debated. But here's the detail that matters. The elephants keep coming back to play on their own, even when nobody's making them. And that alone says the activity is doing something for them. And then the ocean gets involved, because of course it does. Humpback whale songs have real structure, phrases, repeated patterns, things some scientists have compared directly to human musical composition. Whale songs even change over time, and spread between different whale populations the same way a trend spreads across TikTok. One group starts singing a slightly different version, and eventually it spreads to whales hundreds of miles away, sometimes taking years to fully replace the old version across an entire population. Scientists have even recorded entire songs going extinct in one population and getting replaced completely by a new one that spread in from whales migrating through the same waters, almost like an entire ocean-sized version of a song going viral and pushing the old hit off the charts. Nobody can prove whales feel emotion while singing, but the patterns in their songs line up so closely with human musical structure that some researchers wonder if the whole idea of music, tension, build-up, release, repetition is something that shows up naturally whenever a brain gets complex enough to notice patterns in sound. Humans may simply have been the first species to write it down. So back to the original question, do animals actually enjoy human music? For most species, our music was never built with their brains in mind, so the honest answer leans no. But for animals close enough to us, either evolutionarily or from living beside us for thousands of years, dogs raised inside human households, birds capable of learning and copying sound, elephants and whales running entire sound cultures of their own, something is clearly happening when the music starts. It may not be the exact experience happening in you, but it is definitely something. And maybe that's the real twist here. Rhythm and pattern and emotional tension are the same signals every social animal uses to figure out whether the world around it feels calm or dangerous. Music runs on that logic. Humans just happen to be the species that turned it into a song.